What's happening? It's your host, Zach Schumaker, and today I'm being joined by the second commit in Memphis's 2022 recruiting class. He just finished up another successful AAU season while playing the Under Amarr circuit with Team Thorough, is now one of the key players on IMG's top-ranked team's upcoming high school season. He's a four-star recruit, a top 100 ranked player, and that's Noah Batchelor. You're committed, you're locked in now, going to Memphis. Just take us through how you're feeling and how you're adjusting to all the stuff going on now.
They just trying to get me involved right now. Like the coaches are sending me practice film and all their game film and stuff, trying to get me like into their plays, even though I'm really not there yet. So they just trying to make sure that like once I get here or get there, that I'll be locked in and ready to go.
Now, walk us through the decision because you ultimately came to a conclusion Memphis is where you're heading. You didn't necessarily have like a top group. We know you took visits to a few different schools and whatnot, but who did this ultimately come down to? Like, we know Memphis had to be obviously in that picture, but what other schools were you heavily looking at? And like, who did this finally come down to for you in your recruiting process?
So some of the other schools I was looking at was Pitt, Virginia Tech, NC State, Georgia, and Georgetown and Maryland. Those were the schools that like I was looking at and were recruiting me at the time. But Memphis just stood out to me out of every single one of those schools. They were recruiting me the hardest. Their pitch to me was great. Like I just loved everything about it. So
If you had to pick one other school besides Memphis, like if they never came in the picture, who'd you say finished second for you?
ooh, that's a great question. I don't know. I mean, every school was great,
Mm-hmm.
but I think before Memphis, it would have probably been Pitt.
Yeah.
It was honestly, it was between those two. So funny thing is I went to Pitt. I took my unofficial visit to Pitt and I was like, I really love it. Like this
Mm-hmm.
is like this is gonna be it. And then my parents like, nah, just wait. And then Memphis gave me a call, was like, you want to come on official visit? I was like, sure. I was like, let's do it. And
Mm-hmm.
it was just home.
And we saw it because obviously just looking at the timeline wise, you took your visit and then 4 or 5 days, whatever it was after that, you announced it publicly at least. So what happened
Right.
on the visit? Like we see that with some guys, it's not always happening, but some guys do commit right after a visit. So what happened there? How did you feel that coming forward to commit right after that point? Like just take us through the few days you're out there.
So when I touched down there, I went to their practice and everything. You know, they just walked me through everything. So their practice is really early. It started at like 6 a.m. They got me up at like 5:30. I had to be at the gym at 6, watch the whole practice. And the way Penny and all the coaches run the practice is just crazy. Like it's on a whole nother level compared to any other college practice I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a plus for me. And then as soon as we were done, he took me up to his office and I seen every single play that he had drawn up, or the assistant coach had drawn up, and every single one of them was for shooter, 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 shooter. So I mean, they just have unlimited plays and unlimited ways to get me open and get me involved. So that was a really big thing for me.
And that's something that's unique about Memphis. There obviously has become a lot more of these player coaches. We see Jarace getting hired out there in Vanderbilt. We see, and this list goes on. There's a lot of that happening now. But he's not only just a player's coach now. He's brought alongside other guys that's been heavy, all-time great NBA players. He's brought in coaches that's been a part of that. Coach Topper, Coach Brown, like the list goes on. How big of a factor was that knowing that, yes, you're going to college, but at the same time, you're also kind of preparing in a sense for the next chapter, if that's obviously what guys got in store for you at the NBA.
Right. I think that was also one of the biggest things in my decision was their coaching staff. Like obviously what you said, it's gonna be like I'm in college, but I'm really in the league, like when I'm there. Like I'm getting all the like league information I need. Like I'm getting new knowledge every single day when I'm there.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't even know that Larry Brown or any of those guys were coming until like I seen it and they told me about it. So they just said that we have things in the mix. So getting that knowledge is just huge for me. So it's huge for my family too, and it'll definitely help me get to the next level.
On a personal level, what's Penny Hardaway like? You get to talk to him, not just as a coach, because you haven't necessarily been officially coached by him yet, but just
Right.
through Zoom calls, FaceTime, calling, how have you guys have been talking, then obviously on your visit in person. Just what's it like just talking to
Um,
Coach Hardaway?
he's really, really funny. He's a chill dude. He's one of those guys, like one of those coaches to where like I'm not even gonna say a player's coach. Like he's like family to everybody. Like
Mhm.
he knows everyone. He's just really nice to everybody. You can never be on his like bad side. Like there's nothing you can't hate anything about him because he's such a nice guy. He's such a good coach, and I respect him, and everybody else clearly respects him. So, uh, and with the talking thing, he talks to me almost every day. Like we have a really good connection. So, I mean, he's a really good coach. I can't complain.
So what does he want from you personally? Like we see you always at the AAU level and high school level. We know you can shoot, you're athletic, but everyone knows like when you do get to the next level, and especially the NBA level, it's pretty much you lock in on one thing, you develop other things too. But like what's the things he wants you to bring? How does he kind of plan to use you when you get out there to Memphis?
Obviously, he knows that I'm a shooter, but he wants me to expand on other things in my game, like my ball handling, driving to the basket, getting other people involved. So I guess that's the biggest thing this year is just learning how to get my other teammates involved without me touching the ball or even me touching the ball, handling the ball. So he just really wants me to work on other things besides shooting because he already knows I can shoot the ball.
Mm-hmm.
So he just wants me to work on like everything and that as well. So just, getting my all around game together. And then he said, just using me as a shooter and using me as like the skills that I can use. It's not really a using thing because he uses everybody. It treats everybody the same way. Like he'll treat Amani the same way he'll treat John right now or Amani and me. Like he'll treat the people the same exact way. Like whatever you can do it. It's gonna help us win, do it.
Is there a player that either he's compared you to, you compare yourself to, maybe even a mixture of guys? Like, who's some guys that you'd say either he's compared you to or yourself, you kind of look and say, I play like him or take this part from in this part from this different guys' games?
So actually, that's a really good question. Cody right now, he compared me to Klay Thompson.
Mm-hmm.
Both him and Penny compared me to Klay Thompson. A little bit of Curry, just like those guys and the shooting guys like Duncan Robinson. Just those guys that are really good at shooting. Really, those people right there.
Look at the blueprint for your class because of Amani and Jalen reclassing up. Obviously, it messes with the whole how 2022 looks on paper, at least. So you guys
Right.
have technically only two guys right now. You, Amarr. Obviously, we also had a decent Vidaka a little bit ago too. But you just look at who's going to be there when you get out there. I'm sure Duran's going to be one and done. We know he's a top 5, 10 prospect. We know as of this
Right.
point, Base will most likely be back. Obviously, things could change rule wise, but you look at him. You've got Earl Timberlake could be back another year. You have Josh and Sam and John, like you look at this whole group of guys coming back, what could be with you your freshman year. How is that team looking? Just how excited to be able to go out there and kind of grow with that young core group?
Yeah, I'm really excited. I'm really happy for all the guys right now that are up there. They're getting their work in, playing in
Mm-hmm.
front of all those NBA scouts. They're getting all the looks that they need. And whoever comes, I'm sure Jalen and Amani, both of them are probably going to be one and done. But if not, that's like a really good opportunity for all of us just to keep growing and we'll just keep getting better and better every day. But as soon as I come in, I'm ready to go. So I'm whatever what they with. So they want to win, and I'm sure they do. I'm ready to win too. So whatever it takes.
Are there any guys in that locker room that you'd say you've grown a pretty close relationship with at this point, or are you still starting to get to know everyone on the team?
I'm still really getting to know a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really close with John though. Me and John are really tight. So me and him have been talking a lot recently. So me and John are pretty tight.
Now, in terms of recruiting process, when you do know a guy, John, was he making a recruiting pitch to you? Were you guys talking in that aspect, or did you not have too much of a role in you ultimately committing there?
Honestly, nah. I mean, nobody really pushed me to commit to a certain school,
Mm-hmm.
but I think it was just at the end of the day, it was just my decision and my family, like what was best for me. So people can recruit me all they want. I mean, it's cool, but at the end of the day, it's what I need and what I want.
You mentioned earlier that Coach Hardaway is a funny guy. So, what's your funniest memory you have with him so far?
We were in a gym and he took me or actually we went to FedEx Forum to look at the gym, look at the court, and the hoops weren't up. And I was like, what? There's no basketball hoops, it's just a floor. And he was like, he always made a joke. As soon as I got there, he was like, he always told me, he's like, I'm the better shooter, I can shoot better than you, blah, blah, blah. He was like, he looks at me, he goes, no, you take the basketball hoops away? I was like, what you mean? I was like, he said, you took them away because you know I'm a better shooter, right? And I was like, bro. Like, come on now. So I think, he just makes a lot of jokes. So that's definitely probably one of my favorite memories with him is just bonding with him about and just joking around with him.
Have you guys had that shoot off yet?
Nah, we're definitely having it. I go down there next week, so we gotta have it.
Who do you think's gonna win? Like, let's say you guys not just win one game. If we do like a best out of three, first one to two wins, who's gonna win that shooting series?
Oh, me, come on now. I'm definitely gonna win. We're gonna see it though. It's gonna be tight, but I'm definitely gonna pull it out.
Now, in terms of the rest of the coaching staff, we know Coach Hardaway's been there for a little bit. Coach Toppert's been there for a little bit. There's been a lot of newcomers as well, but what coaches besides Coach Hardaway are you pretty close to, and like who have you also grown a good bond with on that coaching staff?
Um, Coach Topper, obviously him. He was the one that solely like that recruited me the whole entire time. Coach Hamilton, Rodney Hamilton, yeah, I've gotten really close with him too. And Coach Jeremy too, he's one of the guys that he's been there for a little bit. Penny took him in when he got there, so I've just grown a little bit with them. And then especially Coach Larry Brown too. Him, we've gotten a little closer. I'm just looking forward, seeing them next week and getting a bond with them a little more.
I've had Coach Topper on here before. He's obviously a great coach. He's had his time in the G League, played or coached in the NBA for a year as well. And he's always mentioned at one point, he's coached one of the better shooters, if not the best shooter in the NBA today, and Devin Booker. So when you just look at a coach that's also done another guy you could probably compare yourself to in a sense, and a guy like Devin Booker, how big has that been? Have you guys talked about that yet?
Man, it's huge to know. He would always send me film of almost every NBA guy. He would solely break down film for me to watch and for me to like learn from all those guys. And it would be trying to think. He would do Klay Thompson, Kevin Durant, Devin Booker. He would do all these guys and break down film for me to learn from those guys that he's seen play and he's coached against. So, I mean, it's really big for me because he has those connections and he knows like what's going to get me to the next level. So it's just really big.
In terms of the NIL aspect, I know that's been something that some guys focus on more than others, but as for you, was that any kind of impact in this recruiting process? Was it just something that you looked at and said, I could probably make money at any of these schools that's recruiting me right now, so it's not a big impact, big deal for me? Or like, where did you stand in terms of NIL in this process?
NIL did not affect me at all in my recruiting process. I mean, if I make money, I make money. Like that's at the end of the day, my goal is to get to the league and I'm going to be making money in the league. So, but I know for a fact the NIL did not choose or help me make a decision on any college or any school. So yeah, nah.
In terms of just being something in play, like you just knew that, okay, I get to get my education still, I still get to go play basketball, but now I do actually get to make money on top of that wherever I do go. Just what do you like about that, and how excited are you to go out there and experience more like what everyone else in the world does get to do now, but you get to do it now as an athlete on that stage? Like, how big is that, and just what do you like about that?
I think it's really big. It's something that a lot of people have been, I'm not saying dreaming about, but like it's been like a really big like thing for the past few years. So for it to now actually happen and for like college athletes to make money off of the littlest things ever, I think is really, really huge. It not only gives like college, like how do I explain it? It doesn't give college like another boost. I mean, it does, but I feel like now people are gonna reach out more to like businesses, and I mean, it's just a really big plus for everybody, honestly, from every sport. So I'm kind of happy it happened, but at the same time, it doesn't like affect me in any way possible. So
Now, if you could pick one sponsorship from one company out there, I'm not sure if you're going to be able to get in college. Obviously, we haven't seen too many mega companies offer guys, but let's say even if it was a possibility or even in the NBA someday, what would you say would be your dream sponsorship from any company in the world? Who would it be?
Ooh, my dream sponsorship. That's a good question. I'm gonna say probably like Dior or something. Dior, Jordan, one of those two. Those are like, I mean, to get a sponsorship even as big as Nike or Puma or Under Armour, Adidas, New Balance, as big as that is like not a goal, but like this is a dream to a lot of people to get even a little sponsorship. So if I even get a sponsorship, a big one, a small one, it's gonna be just like a brighten in the world for me.
Well, we're gonna get more into Memphis stuff a little bit to wrap this up, but I want people to get to know you a little bit better and how you've ultimately become the guy you are today. So we head back. You're from Maryland. That's where you grew up in. So take us to that. Like, what was it like growing up out there?
Um, it was really cool, to see like how people grew up in my area. My area is not big for basketball at all. Like there's been one person that's been to the league from my area, and he was probably in the league for maybe a year or two.
Yeah.
So for me to even be in the spot that I'm at, especially where I'm from, is crazy. It's a really big dream of mine. So I'm glad that I'm at where I'm at right now, and not too many people can be in this position I'm at. So I'm really blessed to even be in this position.
So we head into high school. You also start off at Glen Egg. That's where you started your name, creating the Noah Batchelor that we know today. So why was that the school you chose? Like out of every place in Maryland, maybe you're not closer to home, we still have places down a little bit further from you, like a lot of the big prep schools that we see out there. Why was that the school you chose, and why is that where you wanted to start your high school career off at?
So my freshman year, I was actually at St. Maria Gray High School. That's when I was not known at all. Like, I was like a freshman on varsity, a little 6'4" little boy, just like trying to learn the game of basketball. So then I was transferring because everybody left. We had like 8 or 9 seniors. Like that was our whole team. Everyone left. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna leave too. Like I just need somewhere to restart. I had reached out to a few schools like St. John's, O'Connell. I reached out to a bunch of schools that are like far, but also kind of like in my area a little bit to where it's like not that big of a commute. And none of them really wanted me. So I was like, okay. I had to go to smaller schools, and Glen Elg they came to my AU practices because AU was at the time, so they came to all my practices, some games, and I was like, this is the one. So I mean, I went there for a year and then a little bit, so probably like a year and a few months because of COVID. And it was honestly one of the best decisions I've ever made for my second high school, obviously. But it's definitely one of the best decisions I made to help me develop my game.
So if someone would have came to you as a freshman and said, you're going to eventually develop into a top prospect in the country, you're going to have offers from all kinds of high major schools you can choose from, you even be able to go participate in something as prestigious as Team USA events twice. Could you have seen that in your future? Like, was that something that was just a dream for you, or could you actually have seen that happening and kind of believe, okay, I'm going to do this in the future?
Man, I would have been really shocked if someone told me that because I always used to look at my phone as a freshman, and I'll always be like, "Dang, I'm scrolling through Instagram. I see USA basketball. I see people get posted on Slam. I was like, I'm just dreaming about it. Like every time I'm dreaming about it, like man, like I want to be this person. I want to be that person. But for it to actually happen, and for me to grow as a person that I did, it was amazing just to see it. And my parents too, they're so happy for me. I'm just in a really blessed situation.
At what point would you say it kind of came together for you? And when did you start saying, like, I actually am now one of these top guys? Like every time I'm on the court, I feel like I'm either better than or at least I can compete with anyone in the country. Like, when did that kind of start setting in for you?
I'm gonna say freshman summer because I played 17U that freshman summer with a small UA Rise team. Like we were not known. It was just a small AU team area, and we played in Atlanta. It was that weekend that I knew that I was starting to blow up because the one day after we played 2, 3 games, my coach had gotten a call from Clemson, Virginia Tech, Florida. I gotten all these calls, and Virginia Tech and Clemson offered me the morning before 2 of my games Sunday. So, I mean, when I got those 2 offers, I was knocking on my teammates' door. I was like, yo, look at this. Like, look at this. I posted it as soon as I got the offers. Like, I don't know. I was just so happy. I was jumping up and down. Like, it was crazy. So, I mean, that right there was probably one of my, like, that's when I knew, like, I'm going to be special. And I just kept working.
As I mentioned, you had 2 different times you got to go to Team USA mini camps as well back in 2019. They haven't really had too much stuff going on now because of COVID and all that stuff happening, but you were really part of the last times they were able to do those. So what were those experiences like? How'd you grow as a player? And just take us through those 2 Team USA experiences.
So the first one in June, I think it was in June, July, maybe. I don't know. It was in the summer. That was a blessing. Like it was crazy. I wasn't even supposed to go. Like I was one of the last invites,
Mm-hmm.
and I had got it after I played at the Matha one time because Coach or Jones, Mike Jones, was there, and he watched me play. He was like, "All right, we're gonna give you this offer, like to come to USA basketball." So when I went there, that was a time that Cade was there, Jalen was there, Scotty, everybody. They were all there. Um, and I learned so much that week. I learned probably the most basketball I've ever learned in my life.
Mm.
And I was really blessed just to be around all those guys. And at the same time, I was kind of, I'm not going to say scared, but it was tough. It was tough for me
Yeah.
because I've never played against those people in my life. So, like, it was a different kind of bump. It was fast paced. Everybody was good. I
Mm-hmm.
was like not the only person there that was like good. So, I mean, to play against those guys, it really put me into perspective of how hard I need to work and just I just needed to get better. So that one was pretty good. Like I love that camp. In
Mm-hmm.
October, I already knew all the guys there. I was pretty close to every single one of them because there was all the 2022 kids and a little bit 2023. There was no seniors there. It
Mm-hmm.
was just us. And I think that was just one of the biggest camps for me. Like it was a lot of ups and downs, but it was probably the best camp that the USA camp I've ever been to was October one.
And you mentioned that the kind of going up against the top guys, and I don't think too many people always realize that, especially people that aren't in the basketball world. Like when you're in high school, college, and then even NBA for the first few years, like every year is a huge jump. Like if you're talking about a sophomore to senior, it might be only 2 years in real people's minds. Typical, like that's not too big of a year gap, but the development between a guys in the sophomore to senior year at the elite level is drastic. So you're talking about going up against these guys at that point where about 2 years out from being NBA stars now. How big was that for you? And obviously, I don't think you probably matched up too much against a guy like Evan Mobley, but in terms of like Cade going up against him, Scotty, even like, what was that like just competing against these guys that were much older and at that time obviously much better? Like, how did you kind of go up against those guys, and how did that grow and kind of teach you as a player?
So when I was there, I had told myself, like I already knew like I wasn't the best person there. I already knew I was like I was really the underdog there. Even the freshmen that were there, like or the sophomores that were there, they were all better than me. I can tell you for a fact, every single one of those people were all better than me. So I told myself when I was there, I was like, I just gotta like put my head down and just work. So I would always guard every like the best player on every team. So I would guard Isaiah Todd was there. I would guard him, or I would guard Scotty, or I would guard Jalen, and they would guard me back, and it would make me so much better as a person on and off the court guarding them and just learning from them. It just made me a much better basketball player and a bigger person, like just like a bigger person. It's insane just the way that they put the knowledge in my head. Even though they were seniors going into their senior year,
Mm-hmm.
they gave me so much knowledge that it pushed me to where I am today for real.
I don't know if people obviously know exactly how to get into Team USA stuff, but it's not just about basketball. First thing I know is big is today's world, a lot of the reclass stuff is constantly happening where you have to be of age, obviously a certain age limit. So everyone there is more towards the younger spectrum of your class. So that's a huge thing. And then secondly, you also have to be a high character, high academic type of person. So how have you developed off the court those aspects, like becoming all these other things besides just a great basketball player? How have you kind of developed into that person that's a great person, high academic type of kid as well?
I think the great person like in me and everybody else, like that just comes from I wouldn't say heart, that just comes from solely you wanting to be like a nice person to everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
It goes back to elementary school. My teacher always used to tell me it's a golden rule: treat people the way you want to be treated. So if you want to treat people rude, they're gonna be rude back. So I mean, just being a good person to everybody, that was really just how I was raised. Um, but yeah, I mean, just being a good person just really got me a long way.
COVID came into effect, and that obviously affected pretty much everyone in this country. For you, obviously, at that point in time when it came in, you still were at a school where it wasn't a prep level where you could go travel around everywhere. So you obviously had to deal with the effects from COVID, knock down AAU season, knock down a lot of stuff. So how did you ultimately handle that? And then ultimately, like, what caused you to move to IMG? Like, what led you to say, okay, this is my home for now, but I actually want to take a different jump. I want to go play at the national level and go to IMG for the remainder of my high school career?
Um, COVID was definitely the most difficult time like I've ever experienced. I was supposed to go, so USA had invited me back. After October, they had one in April. I was supposed to go back to USA, and then COVID hit. But I think COVID really destroyed a lot of people's recruitment, and it definitely destroyed mine because all the college coaches would move to different schools or they would get fired and all these, like, everything happened.
Mm-hmm.
And it changed, like, the way people now look at things and the way people recruit.
Yep.
So it definitely was a hard time for me. So when I went to Glen Elg, we were online the whole time. Like, I didn't get to practice. Our practices, we had 1 hour practice in a gym in DC when it was like not when COVID wasn't going around as much.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't make it up there all the time. And they were having like a little scrimmages and stuff. I was like, this ain't formula. I can't drive down to DC and make that commute all the time. So my parents, I kept telling my parents, at first they didn't want me to reclass. They were like, just wait. After your junior year, just wait. I was like, nah, I'm not waiting. Like, I needed reclass. Or not reclass, transfer.
Mm-hmm.
So I had hit up my AU coach, Coach Mookie, and he was like, you really want to transfer? I was like, yes. And he was like, okay, who do you want to hit up? And I didn't even like hit up IMG. It was really Coach Mookie to hit them up. It was between Brewster. I was hitting up Brewster all the time. Like, am I able to come? Like, what's it looking like? Brewster said, nah, you can't come to your senior year. And IMG was like, no, you can come. Like, come down. I was like, okay, I'm going to IMG. So, I mean, just to be here and to get here at the time that I did is amazing. And I learned so much just being here for 2 weeks. So it was I definitely loved the decision I made to come here.
That's a huge thing. And I've always been someone that doesn't really care what the rankings say and stuff like that, because there's always, even without COVID in play, there's always been so many other things that just don't add up in how you make them and whatnot. But COVID came in, and those guys that did play national schedule all year long, they obviously got to be seen a lot more than a lot of guys did. So guys like you, obviously, that's why the rankings dropped off a little bit, whatnot. But how have you taken that in? Because I know some guys focus a lot on rankings. Some guys might look at it more than others. How have you taken in dropping a little bit in that aspect? And has that even affected you at all?
Nah, it hasn't affected me one bit. I mean, I look at them all the time, and I'm just like I know in my head that it doesn't make sense when I look at it. And now when they get posted, I don't even look for my name. I'm just like, okay, I see the rankings. So it's like updated rankings. Nah, I scroll up. All right, just get off the app. I don't pay attention to it. It's not something that like I'm just looking forward to seeing. I know my old self when I was a freshman, I was looking forward to it. I was like, am I on here? Am I on here? And I'll see my name and I would post it and I'll be like, yeah, look at me, I'm on here. But now it's like, I just don't care. It doesn't affect the way that I work out. It doesn't affect anything.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to get more into IMG in a second, but before that, you had your past AAU season. You got to go back out there, wrap up basketball the way everyone wants to, playing on a circuit level thing. So you went UAA this year, team throw. Take us to that experience. What was it like playing with them this year?
It was amazing. It was so fun.
Mm-hmm.
I was super happy that I made the choice to stay another year with Team Thrill. Like, it was fun. There was a lot of ups and downs. I feel like we could have done a lot better. I feel like we came up short and we weren't supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
We were supposed to win the whole thing. I think we were favorited to really win it. We were somewhat of the underdogs. We had lost a few games that we shouldn't have lost, but no, it was a great AAU season. Everybody got better. Every single person on the team got an offer. So, I mean, that's really what every single one of us was looking for, to get offers and get exposure.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it was great.
Now, the big headline attraction on that team was you and Jarace, who also get to play with each other at the high school level too. So how has you guys bond grown, though? You get to play with him for all this time now, constantly teammates year round. How have you two grown a bond together? Just what's your relationship like with Jarace?
Our relationship is really tight. I tell him everything. Like, we always talk. We are always roommates during AAU. We always stay in each other's like rooms. Like, we were always roommates. We were always paired together. So, I mean, it really helped. The high school season playing with him, it really helped being his teammate for AAU. And we just played well together. So, I mean, it definitely helped us a lot.
What's your favorite memory with him so far, with all your time on and off the court? Like, what's the favorite memory that comes to mind when you think about you and him together?
I think on the court, it's just like I don't know. It's just like a certain connection that we got that that he knows that I'm open or I know he's open. I'm giving him the ball every time. Like we laugh on the court. I don't know if you see it if you're watching any games or not, but
Mhm.
every single time somebody scores, or like he scores, I'm always dapping him up, laughing with him, joking with him all the time on the court. And then off the court, we it's just funny. We just joke all the time. Like we're always like bonding together. We do everything. So he's just a really good teammate.
Both you guys are highly ranked players, have a lot of different offers on the table, or at least had. Obviously, you're committed now. But did you guys ever discuss teaming up together? Do you guys consider going different places together? Or did that never really evolve between you two in terms of college level teaming up?
I don't think it ever like came into the picture of us going to the same school.
Mm-hmm.
Because obviously our offers were completely different. I mean, we had some of the same ones, but his schools that he's focusing on now are definitely different than the ones that I had. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm completely happy with the schools he's got. Like he's doing really well. So I'm happy for all the decisions he's making. But nah, we never spoke about being on the same team for college. Never spoke about going to the same place.
So whichever school he does end up committing to, what are they going to be getting him? We see obviously his highs and whatnot, but you know him just about better than any one of us do. So what will the program be landing in Jarace Walker, whoever does land him?
He's a stud. I mean, he can do everything. He's an all around scorer. He plays defense. He's energetic.
Mm-hmm.
He's everything you want in a basketball player. Like he's just an all around great person. So whoever gets him, wherever he goes, I know they're gonna be super happy.
Absolutely. Well, let's head back into this upcoming senior season, your final year of high school basketball now at IMG once again. You guys are fully loaded. Eric Daly, yourself, Keontae, Jarace, we just talked about, Jaden Bradley, Jet. Like the list goes on, different guys on this roster. So how are you guys looking so far, and just how excited are you for your final year of high school basketball?
We're looking great.
Mhm.
Right now we're just looking to get people healthy. We only have like 5 people healthy right now, so trying to get people healthy right now. But we're looking great. I mean, this season is going to be crazy. I know we're traveling everywhere. Like we have some really good games. Like our schedule is packed with just like competition. We don't play any bums this year.
Mhm.
So I'm really looking forward to it. And I'm really looking forward to how our team adjusts to the schedule that we have this year.
I've got a feeling I know who you're going to say for this answer, but there still are a lot of great teams out there. So out of everyone in the country, all the top ranked teams, who are you the most excited to go up against this year?
Um, I'm gonna go ahead and say Montverde,
Mm-hmm.
Oak Hill, and just those like core group of like schools, the ones that are in the NIBC league that we are in. Like those are the schools that I'm really looking forward to playing against because the competition that we're playing against is insane. Like everybody is good, like I said. So I mean, I'm just really looking forward to those games, and I'm really looking forward to just. It's like we're gonna get better every night. So regardless of what happens, we're getting better. So that's what I like about it.
The crazy thing is that we know, like, quote unquote, for some people at least, the difference between going to prep school or not is that they don't really have a rivalry of feeling like your local two high schools do. But you guys kind of have, in a way, created that with Montverde. Obviously, as a two different schools, same state, both are perennial top one, two, top five teams. All you guys are going to Geico every single year. Tons of NBA talent too. So what's that like? Like when you guys do go up against a school that you know, well, yeah, they are going to be one of the top schools. They're obviously a contender as well. What is that atmosphere like, and what's like going up against them every single year?
Man, it's crazy.
Mhm.
We last year we played them at Virginia, and at the end of the game, like they ended up beating us. At the end of the game, it was like we were all talking smack to each other. Like people had to separate us. Like it was Montverde and us when we were like colliding together. Like we were talking smack. We were in everybody's faces, and they
Mhm.
had police officers and everybody split us up. So I mean, we're definitely rivals. Like even if people say we're not, like we are.
Mhm.
So I mean, just looking forward to playing them. Is now with fans too. Is going to be completely different.
So from the guys you've seen in your own locker room so far, tons of talent. We know some of these guys are already elite, top 5, 10 players, whatnot. Who is someone that you'd say you're kind of surprised by? Out of the new guys coming in, is there someone that you're like, they're actually pretty good? Like they're a lot better than I probably thought they might have been a couple months ago before I saw them play.
um, one of our new guys, Jacoy Hutchinson. He's really good point guard. I did not think coming into the school year, I was like, who's this? I was like, what? I knew he played for Team Takeover. Like, he's from DC, so he's from like where I'm at. Like, so I mean, him, I did not know he was like that good. And we got here and we started working out. We were playing. I was like, man, he's actually really good. So he's a great addition to the team. I'm happy he's here. So I'm just ready to get to work.
Absolutely. Well, a couple more things before I let you go. One of which is something I was like wrapping up discussing. That's building a legacy for yourself. And we now know your next chapter is going to be at Memphis for the next 1 to 4 years. So throughout your career there, by the time that day does come when you ultimately end your career at Memphis, what do you want to be remembered for what you achieved both on and off the court out there?
I really want to be remembered for that one guy that always works hard, that never skips a day, never skips a rep, always is in the gym. But I want to be that person that's known that he worked for everything that he has. And off the court, just like a genuinely nice guy, a person that anybody can come to and talk to. So just one of those people that's an all-around nice person and a hard worker.
Absolutely, man. Well, my final thing for you, give Memphis fans your 3 biggest goals you have set for your Memphis career.
Obviously, winning a championship is definitely the biggest goal for me and the whole team is one of them. And just giving the fans something to look forward to every night that I step on the floor. And I'd probably say the last one would be that they're going to see my energy every night. Like, I'm that person that's like screaming on the floor. I'm screaming in people's faces. I'm talking smack. Like, they're going to see everything. So, I mean, I'm just really looking forward to the Memphis fans just sing, and I'm just ready to show them everything that I have.
Absolutely, man. Congratulations on the commitment once again. I'm excited to see what God got next for you, and appreciate taking time to come on today, man.
Appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Of course, man. You're always welcome on, man. God bless.
You too.